What's up, guys? Salute! BC coming at you with today's Amped Up for Friday, May 9th of the year 2025. Just 24 hours away from WWE's next PLE, Backlash. I am currently sitting next to an empty cup of coffee. That will not remain for long. After this opening teaser, we're all going to make our first cup of coffee from the new amplified Monster 5000 coffee machine. That's right, it has finally arrived. I have not brewed a cup of coffee out of this yet, so I'm just hoping it works, first of all. I'm hoping it brews a nice, fresh, badass, amplified cup of coffee. But I'm not taking you guys to the opening signature when this teaser is done. No, we're gonna make this cup of coffee together. But that will be filled for this upload. Trust me. There's no way that's going to remain empty. And it's got to be filled because we got a big show on tap today. And I'm not talking about a Paul White, that's for sure. A real big show. Packed, jacked, and stacked. Because we're going to talk Javon Evans and Ricochet. I know. PC, what are you talking about, man? You say you got a big show, a stacked show, jacked and packed, and you're talking about Ricochet and Javon Evans. Well, yes, for good reason, because it's going to be a lot of fun. They recently had a heated exchange with one another, and that's being generous. That's an understatement. They went in on one another. Javon Evans was throwing verbal haymakers, going for a total knockout, a true TKO, not attached to any stocks with WWE or any parent company. A true legit TKO is what Javon was going for. But it's what Ricochet said in that last paragraph that has some going, I think Ricochet actually won this war of words because he took what Javon said about attendance and he dropped an amplified bomb on it. We'll talk about it, and we'll go over what I believe is what landed Javon into the WWE doghouse, because he is. Because WWE said, remove it now. And I'll tell you guys the line that I believe did it. Because it was wild. The whole exchange was wild, but we'll talk about it. That's going to be our feature story, because it leads to the grander picture, which is Will Ospreay recently saying how he feels that AEW does have the better wrestlers. Like, actually, when the bell rings, like, who can go? AEW. And now Ricochet, how he started this war of words with Javon Evans, kind of leads into that. So there's almost like this, I don't know, at some point, fans are going to start demanding a WWE versus AEW pay-per-view. 10 matches, AEW's best, WWE's best. I said this recently, man. Would you pay $500 for that? Imagine if they put a $499.99 price tag. $500, you get to watch AEW, WWE. One night, one time only. $500 to watch on pay-per-view. I said in a recent upload, I think I would. I do, man. That would be one heck of a night. You put together... I'm thinking of 10 of their best, 10 of WWE. I don't know. Who would you pair MJF up with? I mean, yeah, you could go the safe route of Roman Reigns. You could run it back with a Cody, a WWE style of Cody. MJF and Randy Orton would be a lot of fun. There's so much, man. Hangman Page, obviously, and Seth Rollins would be one heck of a match. CM Punk and Hangman after all this time and all the animosity that they have. But we've seen it, I know. I don't know. There's so many ways you could go. That would take a whole nother upload. But it just seems like this new trend is AEW is not afraid to say that, listen, we understand the numbers and all of that, but we honestly feel, if you're asking us, we feel that we are better. That's in the eye of the beholder. We're gonna go over what Javon and Ricochet were bashing each other at and for. Ricochet started this. Did Javon Evans end it? We'll talk about it. And also, Hunter Hearst Helmsley taking credit for Jey Uso's gimmick, basically. There is no basically. That's what he is doing. I'm going to give you a quote from Hunter Helmsley. Because he's doing more interviews. That's all he does. Because what else would he be doing? His actual job? Stop. That's funny. You should be a comedian. He's not going to spend a moment actually being creative and thinking of fun storylines for us, the fans, and the talent who desperately need it. He's not going to book these individuals correctly. He doesn't have the time to do that. He's doing his interviews. He's hearing himself flap his gums. And that's what he does. And every time he says something, it makes for great headlines for us. So, hey, keep at it. And sure enough, He did not fail. Talking about Jason Uso and his gimmick. And basically everything that got Jey Uso over, Hunter is taking credit for. I'm going to give you guys exact quotes. We'll talk about it. And we're also going to discuss a recently released or not re-signed superstar from WWE. She is speaking out now, and she is saying the same thing that we have been hearing for months now. And we have talked about it in so many uploads. And now this female is the latest to say the same thing. Zero transparency in this company. She did not even know that they were parting ways. Nobody would tell her nothing until she finally had to take matters into her own hands. And we'll go over her exact quote on what she said. And we'll take a deep dive into that conversation as well. I got the NXT numbers for you guys and AEW. AEW has closed the gap, and they didn't even have to really do anything. NXT just went backwards a little bit, and now that gap has closed up. I got the numbers. I told you it was packed, it was jacked, it's stacked. It's all those things. And we're going to talk about all of it in this huge, amped up, just hours away from SmackDown and one day before Backlash. Before we do anything, man, I'm not taking you guys to the signature. That's going to be the end of the cold open teaser monologue. Now, we're going to go hopefully make sure that this coffee machine works. The Amplified Monster 5000, otherwise known as a Keurig. That's not the point. It's like when you come to WWE, right, and they put a new name on you and they try to hope everybody looks at you differently. Pay no attention to the fact that it's a Keurig. It's a Monster Amplified 5000, damn it. Let's go make a fresh cup of coffee. Hopefully it works. Hopefully it tastes great. And then we can jump into these conversations. Now, you know we have to go Folgers. The best part of waking up is Folgers in your cup. Folgers, it's in your motherfucking cup. We'll pop that in, the new Amplified Monster 5000. You know we got to go 12 ounce. We ain't going 8. We ain't going 10. We're getting amplified. And you know we're going to push the strong option because we have to have strong coffee. Go ahead, power it up. Start to hear those sounds. Here we go. Oh, it's a thing of beauty. Put in a little Dunkin' extra cream sugar. We good to go. All right, unit. So coming up in this very upload, as I said, a now former female talent for WWE is speaking her truth and telling us just how sloppy that shop is within those walls of World Wrestling Entertainment. And speaking of, Hunter Helmsley taking credit for Jey Uso, basic. We'll talk all about it. And Javon, Evans, and Ricochet. That's what we're going to start off with. I ain't going to make you guys wait, man, that heated exchange, because that's just a lot of fun, and that's what I want to talk about. But before we do anything, man, we got to take our first swig out of this new coffee machine, the Amplified Monster 5000. I've had defective machines in the past, man. They were not on par, and it just didn't brew a good cup of coffee. That best not be the case, because we got lots to talk about in this upload. We got a big weekend coming up. Need our coffee to be amplified. Here we go. Salute, unit. 5-9-25, amped up. BC in the unit, rocking out. Oh, that could be it. Hold on. Another. You got to let it sit on the tongue and everything, man. You got to, it's like wine tasting. That's it. We got a winner, unit. Doesn't help that it's a Folgers, amazing coffee. You just need the right equipment. You need it to work properly. You need the right amount of creamer that you're putting in, creamer/sugar, whatever your choice of input. Mix it perfectly. You tap in your mixologist. Bang! Right? New York Knicks fans know what I'm talking about. Bang! For 3! Yes, tomorrow, man. I'm wearing my orange. We're sporting. We're ready tomorrow. Game 3, man. Can we go up 3-0 on the Celtics? Brah. Could you imagine? I still can't believe we took the first 2 games. It's wild. All right, let's jump into this, guys. Now, actually, I'm getting into Ricochet Evans. I just want to go over this real quick before I forget. NXT AEW ratings. NXT this week pulled in 652K, 0.14 demo, 18 to 49 demo. So 652,000 viewers and a .14 demo. That is down from last week's 674K. So NXT lost 24,000 viewers this week. AEW Dynamite pulled 629K at a .16 demo. If that sounds familiar, it is. That's exactly what they pulled last week. 629K. They didn't really budge. So the bad news is they didn't go up. The good news is they did not drop. Maybe they're finally getting some consistency back. Now is where you have to build on that. The good news for AEW is that they closed that gap, even though they didn't have to budge, because NXT did go backwards. The difference between the two shows now sits at 23,000 viewers. That's not a lot. 23,000 separates WWE's NXT brand and AEW. So it's it makes the heated exchange in the conversation with Ricochet and Javon Evans from NXT and Ricochet from AEW. It makes that all the more interesting because they are pretty close, man. So wanted to throw those numbers over to you guys. And now here it is. Let's talk. Yes. If you guys haven't heard any of this, grab your coffee, sit back, max, relax while BC drops the facts because this is wild, man. So it all started when a fan put this up, I believe on his social doohickey, right? And Ricochet picked up on it. So the fan says, Javon is the best young prospect in wrestling. That's it. That's his take. That's his belief. Cool. Javon is the best young prospect in wrestling. No harm, no foul. Javon sees that. Hey, cool. Thanks, man. Ricochet picks up on it, and Ricochet decides to respond. I believe this was all like fresh in character. This is his new thing. Make everybody hate him. Everybody boo him. Think he's the most annoying human on planet Earth. And this is the route he's going. Because Ricochet says, I'd squash him. That's it. I'd squash him. So this fan's like, Javon's the best young prospect in wrestling. Ricochet says, I'd squash him. No harm, no foul. I don't, right? That's nothing. That's not a dig to Javon. It's like wrestling banter. I remember Will Ospreay when he was in Japan used to do that to AEW wrestlers and WWE. Friendly banter for when you do, if you do, come across one another in the future. You could do good business together. You can have good matches. I remember Ospreay did it to Seth Rollins right before he went over to AEW and was talking to WWE. And him and Rollins kind of went bad. And I think Rollins took it really personal, too. It's like, oh, it's wrestling, man. Setting up some storylines. Maybe you guys can do business in the future if you find yourselves in the... That's how I took that. I'd squash him. I would have never thought twice if Javon didn't ricochet right back with a response. This is what Javon Evans responds to I'd squash him. Evans says, my bad. Just got done training at the Performance Center under Shawn Michaels. Something you don't have, meaning the Performance Center, or do, which is get trained by Shawn Michaels. So just got done training at the Performance Center under Shawn Michaels, something you don't have or do. But I bet your brown egghead ass would squash me if Tony told you to. So I guess stating that he's like a gopher for Tony. If Tony says jump, you say how high. So Rico volleys back with a response. Rico says, brother, I was learning from Shawn Michaels when you was like 12. Then went on to become multiple time champion. Let me know when you win one, little boy. And yeah, if Tony asked me, I'd definitely beat your ass. Evans comes back. This may be the harshest of the whole dialogue. Evans responds, you learned from HBK when I was 12 and became a multi-time champion. Now you're wrestling in front of 2,000 people every week for a crackhead. Talk about an upgrade, am I right? Sounds like Mr. Khan isn't giving you enough attention, so... you had come for a successful-ass youngin'. End quote. Rico responds, how many people does the PC hold? Bah ha ha ha. But keep up the energy. It makes you look so cool. End quote. There was not a volley back from Evans. It is that at that point we believe Evans was notified from WWE that he is in a bit of trouble. You can't just go around calling promoters for other companies heads. I don't think the Tube is going to like that. Can't say too much, man. The Tube will start, you guys won't be able to get these uploads if you say, the Tube's all over the place, man. You say certain things and they'll take it off the algorithm. So I don't want you guys, I don't care, but I don't want you guys to miss out on these uploads. So I can't, I can't use that word too much. But he called Tony Khan that and said you only wrestle in front of 2,000 people now. Good job learning from Shawn Michaels and becoming multiple-time champion, and now your old ass is wrestling in front of 2,000 people. But Ricochet, right? That's that's like the haymaker. That's going for the knockout. That's like saying you're at the lowest of your career. You're wrestling in front of a couple thousand people. But Ricochet came right back and said, I'm sorry, you're wrestling in front of... How many fans does the Performance Center hold? If you guys are wondering, it's 1,000. Javon didn't think before he spoke. Javon's thinking big dreams, right? He's going to make it to the main roster. He's going to be at a Mania in front of 60,000 fans. WWE will call it 80. It'll be 60. And everything is hunky-dory, right? Everybody's great. Everything is awesome. I'm wrestling in front of tens of thousands of people. But let's get there first. You don't know what you could blow a wheel out, overcompensate your other wheel. That one gets better. Your other wheel blows out. You're constituted as injury prone, and Hunter Helmsley says, "Here's your walking papers." We see it time and time. Last night we put up a late upload yesterday, talking about Bayley, man, and what Coachman said about Bayley. But it opened up a really good conversation, and you guys rocked out, man. We had a really good conversation, man. Yeah, just a lot of really good takes, and it's just, nobody is just immune to it. Trust me. Even Nia Jax, who's The Rock's cousin, at one point got released. Vince McMahon said, "You're getting DOS boot." Came back, but yeah, even she got DOS booted. So Javon's thinking, big dreams, and that's awesome, and he's such a good talent. But I don't think you should be going to that level, man, mocking how many fans he's wrestling in front of, because that's where you start out. You start out with 25, 50 people at the local bingo hall. And sadly, that's how most wrestlers end their career, guys. It's sad to say. If you think everybody just ends in WWE with a retirement match and a nonstop ticket into the Hall of Fame, it doesn't. That's a small percentage. Most wrestlers, they start off in front of 20, 25 people if they're lucky at the bingo hall, and when they end their career, they're in front of 25, 50 people at the bingo hall. Even if they made a name for themselves, they find themselves at a table trying to get a line of even 5 people to buy an 8x10 autographed picture for $5, $10. Maybe snap a photo of them. They don't look anything like they used to. It's sad how the career of a pro wrestler actually ends in most cases. So I never liked that part of it. Oh, you talk this, but you're wrestling in front of 2,000 people. I mean, I'm not huge on Ricochet. For many reasons. I understand he's uber talented, but I have a plethora of reasons I'm not going to get into. I'm just not a big fan of the dude in any way. But tremendous talent. But I would defend the fact that that was his call. I mean, there was no indication that he was actually going to be released straight up. He was showing frustration, telling Hunter he was frustrated. He wanted out. He knew the skills that he had, and he just wanted to take his talents elsewhere. James status, LeBron James, right? I'm taking my talents to South Beach. Taking my talents to Jacksonville. I don't think Ricochet really cared about the amount of people he was wrestling in front of. He just wanted to have really good matches and showcase, and that much I will give him credit for. So if you're going to throw the crowds that AEW has that they're performing in front of, you might want to ask yourself, what are you performing in right now? 1,000 fans at max. That's half of what you just mocked him for. Now, one day, yes, hopefully you get to the main roster, but it was Ricochet that removed himself from that equation. Can't believe in what alternate universe am I actually defending Ricochet a little bit, but I mean, That's a little bit too low, man. That's low-hanging fruit that no wrestler should say, because karma is a boop, and it'll come back and bite you twice as. And, I don't want to think of Javon Evans in 20, 25 years, trying to get 8x10 autographs of himself sold for 5, 10 people. Maybe try to get a picture for $5 extra and then go out and wrestle. Or when he's 55, 60 years old, because he's got to make ends meet and get bread and butter on the table, that he's got to go out and wrestle in front of 20 people. I don't want to think of that, but that's how it usually ends for most of these wrestlers. So don't mock 2,000 people when you could be in front of 20 when it's all said and done. That's just advice I give to any pro wrestler. I can say that. I've been in that ring, and I have many friends that travel this world doing just that right now. Many friends right now are in hotel rooms, man, in pain and getting ready for their next matchup that is most likely going to be in front of maybe 40, 50 people, breaking their backs. So I never liked that, but that was he was going for a haymaker, man. At that point, it was heated, and I think Ricochet started out in good fun, and I think Javon Evans was like, I'm feeling myself. I'm in WWE. Everybody is blowing smoke up my ass because my talent is top notch. I'm gonna be main roster slamming it. I'm gonna be in main events with Roman Reigns. I don't know what the dude's thinking. These are two really good talents. Be a fun match, actually. But it started off, maybe Ricochet was trying to do some business, I don't know, or maybe just trying to up his own character at the expense of Javon. But Javon just wasn't. And again, we believe that what got Javon Evans into the doghouse, because that's all been removed. Everything from Javon Evans' standpoint and what he was saying to Ricochet, that's been removed from his accounts at last checked. If it's been reinstated, it's always possible. But at last check, it's been removed. Usually when that happens, that's coming from the higher-ups, the suits and ties. I can't say it's from a Hunter Helmsley or a Shawn Michaels. Who knows? But Nick Khan, I mean, believe it or not, usually you want to think it's just public relations, right? And they're on top of it. And in their media group and all that. But, I mean, Nick Khan even keeps track of things like that. And that could trickle to Triple, and then Triple's got to tell Shawn, and Shawn tells... And then before you know it, it's got to be removed. But no matter what, it was removed. So, yeah, I don't think they like the fact of, you're talking about wrestling in front of 2,000 when everybody knows, like, the Performance Center is 1,000. Like, dude, what are you doing, man? You're making us look like idiots. You're making NXT look like we... Who are we wrestling in front of? A gymnasium. And then on top of that, I don't think WWE, as much as they have animosity toward Tony Khan and AEW, I definitely know Hunter does, for beating NXT when Hunter was at the helm and they wanted to go head to head and they were ready to rock out, and AEW started beating Hunter Hearst Helmsley's Black and Gold. And Hunter always kept that. Congratulations, you beat our developmental, he said. And I knew, And then every chance Hunter gets, he tries to infiltrate into AEW. He tries to take all the talent he can. He tries to put his events for WWE, whether NXT or WWE, he tries to go head to head with AEW when he can. And when they are head to head and it just happens to fall that way, he loads up the shows with main roster stars. So I definitely believe that there's so much animosity from Hunter to Tony Khan. But that being said, I don't think at all that they want one of their wrestlers calling Tony Khan a head of crack. That's probably not the best way to go. But the haymaker was definitely from Javon Evans, calling Tony Khan a head of crack, and then saying that you only wrestle in front of 2,000 people. How'd that training from Shawn Michaels, how'd all those world champions work out? How's your career going? That was the haymaker. But when Rico responded, how much does the PC hold again? Because I think it's half of 2,000. Maybe that was the W in the argument in the heated exchange, because there's no comeback after that. And Javon was told, put your fingers away. You're not typing anymore. So Javon didn't even have a chance. Maybe, man, maybe it got maybe they reignited it as of this recording, man. Then we'll do a part 2. But that had to be the top story, man. That was we've seen this before from wrestlers, and we've actually seen it from other companies, right? Talent from one company, a talent from another company, but never have they tried to go for knockout punches like this. I mean, this was some low-hanging shit. And now they're talking about the audiences that they both perform in and how it's just not a lot. But I don't know. How you guys feel about that, man? Who won that one? Who won that verbal exchange? Was it Rico or was it Javon Evans? W-I-L-D, man. Javon Evans was feeling himself and just said, let's go, Rico. Wonder if they'll ever do business in the future, huh? They would, man. The money is right. Do it in front of 2,000 people. Shotzi Blackheart on her release, or should I say not re-signed by the company, but still, company was going about business like she was. Sound familiar? Whether being released, straight up fired, or they're just not re-signing you, they're all telling you the same thing. Nobody was telling them anything. It was business as usual. They were being told everything was good. No indication that they were parting ways. And then just wham. In Shotzi's case, she saw the writing on the wall. She started seeing and hearing all these stories and started to think, wait, is this happening to me now? So Shotzi actually said, I might as well take matters into my own hands and see for myself. And that's what wrestlers have to. How sad is that? That there's zero transparency in Hunter Hearst Helmsley's WWE. You thought there was none with Vince. At least if you could talk to Vince, it would take a while. You'd be standing at his office for 3 days. But he'll eventually come out and he'll say, you got 2 minutes. Hunter's that type of snake, man. Oh, man, he'll tell you one thing to your face, you turn around, and guess what? You out's a job. Shotzi says this, I'll give you a quote. I was told I was going to start a story with Chelsea Green. They bring me into SmackDown. They rehearse my entrance for the Tron, and then they just cut it. Then it was like week after week, nothing and nothing. Then I started to wonder, like, my contract is up in a few months. What's going on? And nobody had answers for me. That's finally when I was like, I'm going to cut this promo and I'm going to get some answers myself. That's when she started doing the promos, going into business for herself, and actually, basically, just like Chelsea was so many. Remember, there was a lot of talents that said, you know what, we're not being told anything, but we believe we're being cut or believe or they're going to part ways with us. So they started to say their goodbyes on their socials, man. Shotzi was one of them to just be like, listen, I don't know what's going on. I feel like this is going to be one of those, like, those parting of the ways ambush style where it's like last minute, by the way, or severing ties. So Shotzi just took matters in their own hands and started doing it. And she was right. The plan all along from WWE was to part ways with Shotzi. They just didn't tell her. They knew when they brought her into SmackDown and she was supposed to start this program with Chelsea, and then they axed it. They cut it all that time, brought her in. That takes money. Set up the entrance for the Tron and the video all that's money. Obviously, Hunter, nobody else is going to make that. Lee Fitting isn't. Nicholas Khan isn't. Ari Emanuel doesn't care about Shotzi. That's not how he's spending his day. Hunter, can I talk to you about Shotzi? Yes, that's Ari Emanuel, the dude at the helm of Endeavor. One of the bigs in Silver Lake. It's Hunter Helmsley, chief of content, chief of all the talent and the create. That's his call. Something happened where he said, no, I don't want Shotzi in that. Send her home. Week after week, nothing after nothing, she says. And then I started to wonder, my contract's up in a few months. What's going on? Nobody had answers for me. That's the most alarming line because that's what you've heard from everybody, whether it's a Tegan Knox, a Sonya Deville, Baron Corbin. Everybody is saying the exact same thing. Dakota Kai, nobody has a different response. Hunter was acting like everything's hunky-dory, giving us Papa H speeches, and then we were told we no longer have a job. And we haven't talked to Hunter since. BC, he doesn't have time, man. He's a big suit and tie in WWE. What are you talking about? He does 8 interviews every day. He doesn't have a moment to tell the people that were breaking their backs for him, hey, by the way, thanks, but we went a different direction. I really hope the best for you. You don't have a minute, 30 seconds To drop them a line and have some transparency? Wouldn't you want that from your boss? Because that would suck if you worked at a place where your boss, I don't even care if it's just a manager, but somebody didn't just sit you down give you 5 minutes, 10 minutes just to have a nice conversation, wrap things up, let you have a chance to truly know why this is happening. In case there's things you could improve on or do better next time. Nothing. I could never imagine working at a place where they wouldn't give me 5 minutes to talk about my release when I was breaking my back for them. But in this company, it's okay. And there's enough fans and people that they won't even touch these stories. That's fine with me, man. That's business. It's just business. People get released. But, he doesn't have to talk to them. They're released. That's so... I mean, I'm not on any moral high ground. Trust me. Believe me. But I was definitely raised a little better than to just treat people like that. That's a little odd. Or a lot. And Shotzi is just the latest to tell you this. And when I say they knew for weeks that they were... Because when they took her out of that Chelsea thing, scrapped the whole entrance, and then kept her away for weeks, do you think they didn't know what they were doing? No, it's because they were like, oh, contract ends in a few months. I want to go a different direction. Sit her at home or sit her at catering. Don't bother talking to her. Don't tell her nothing. When it gets to about a week away, we'll tell her we're not going to re-sign. And a little note that I put in my notes, Chelsea Green. It's interesting. She says she was about to start something with Chelsea Green program. Chelsea also recently thought that she was on her way out. Remember, she was one of those wrestlers I aforementioned that were sending out things on their social like, thank you, it's been real. Thank you guys, no matter what happens. Head up. I mean, that's why this is before the releases we even heard of any release. Everyone was like, what's going on, man? A lot of talent is saying their goodbyes, it sounds. Even Chelsea, because nobody was talking. No, this was a champion. Chelsea had a championship. Lost it to Zelina Vega and said, uh-oh, everyone's being weird around me. I think I'm being released. Now, Chelsea wasn't. Chelsea will be re-signed if she hasn't already. And maybe it's because of that post, and they're like, whoa, a lot of backlash from the Chelsea Green fans. Maybe. I couldn't fathom that. Chelsea put in the best year of her WWE career so far, man. Chelsea's been crushing it. But Chelsea Green is another one who is sending their goodbye because there's no transparency, man. Hunter just feeds you loads of bullshit, leaves you more confused, and then all of a sudden you're out of a job. And I've said this a million times, it feels in just the last month, but that's how many people are being released, not just in a big wave of releases, but over time. And the saddest thing you hear is they all say the same thing. The hardest part about all this, because I'm okay, that's business, that's their decision, cool. There's other places I can bust my ass and hopefully land, somewhere else and everything's good. They all say the same thing. The hardest part about it all, and what's the most frustrating, is not knowing. They just don't know why they wanted to part ways or what exactly was the main thing, because nobody from the company will talk to him. And Hunter Helmsley, those are supposed to be all his kids, right? He's Papa H. He doesn't have or he won't take a moment just to set everybody's minds at ease. He won't do it. And all of these released talents have to go to bed every night and they just don't know what happened because Hunter won't. No transparency. And that's what makes one of the sloppiest shops, man, is when your talents no longer have any sense of trust in who they're working for, right? That was the main thing that a lot of the top talents will still blow smoke up Hunter's ass because they have secure paychecks. They're in a good position. But all the other wrestlers, man, there's a big lack of trust right now with Hunter Helmsley. It's almost like they're finally seeing exactly what BC has been saying from the jump. Some people, you just got to listen a little bit more closely, see a little bit more visually, and you're going to understand they just can't be trusted, bro. Hunter Helmsley has told you 1 billion times. Don't turn your back to the dude. Hunter Helmsley, man. Shotzi Blackheart telling you nobody had answers for me. And then I found out because I went in, I did my own research and I found out I was being I was being ousted. They're not going to resign. Interesting. Just the latest. You're going to hear many more stories, and we're going to repeat this a billion more times until everybody understands that this is how business is operated in WWE under Hunter Helmsley. When everybody says, wow, everybody's so happy under Helmsley. Gunther said he saved wrestling. Yeah, I can give you 100 pro wrestlers that said Hunter is destroying pro wrestling. Hey, did you hear Unreal is coming out on Netflix soon? He's going to peel back. He's going to burn the curtain and expose every trick in the book. Yeah, thanks, Hunter. And then after that, The Rock can do a press conference where he exposes the business even more. Hunter, Hearst Helmsley, and The Rock. Two people that want to expose the business more than anybody you can ever imagine. Swig of coffee. We're going to flip it over to, we're going to stick with Helmsley. Oh, you're going to love this. Taking credit for Jey Uso in totality. Basic, right? Listen to what he said and you tell me that's not the case. It's the case. He's literally taking credit for this whole shtick. So Helmsley says this as it pertains to Jey Uso getting over. Helmsley says he went out one night, meaning Jey Uso. Uso got up on the turnbuckle and he was doing this thing where he was rhythmically going to the music. Interesting choice of words. You mean flapping his arms around, Levesque. But he was rhythmically going to the music. The crowd started to do it with him. He came to the back and I was like, hey, you did a thing. He wasn't even aware of it. I told him, you did a thing tonight where you rhythmically bounced to the song. You rhythmically bounce to the song. Jay's probably like, what is this dude talking about? He says, you were just doing it. I don't know if you noticed it, but the crowd was doing it with you. This happens over a series of weeks, and I was like, hey, go further down that road. I said, hey, what if you throw your arms into it and you start doing this thing? End quote. What are you... Why would that need to be said? Nobody would need to hear when Stone Cold is over and he's doing his power walk to the ring like only Stone Cold could do. Nobody wants to hear Vince in an interview saying, yeah, I told him just to lay into the walk, like really go to the music and start looking at the crowd and talking trash as you're going down the aisle. Like, just like, what is he saying? I don't know, but this dude's looking for a fight. Nobody needs to hear Vince expose Steve Austin's gimmick like that. Because you will look at Steve Austin a little different. Like, Vince told him to do all that. Nobody needs to hear, right? Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard really gave The Undertaker all the tools for that character. And Undertaker took care of the rest. But nobody needs to hear Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard talk about all the things that they helped Undertaker with. This is what we did for Undertaker, and we told him to take the pause. Don't blink. We told him not to blink at all, because those first few years, Undertaker didn't blink. That was part of his gimmick. But we told him to go slow. We told him his movements should look like something out of a movie. Nobody needs to hear that. You want to think like the Undertaker came up with that. Steve Austin, Jey Uso, this is just him being Jey Uso. Nobody needs to know. He says, and I quote, I said, what if you throw your arms into it? So he's literally taking credit for the actual rhythmic yeet. Jay started doing this. It was working. So then I tapped into my creativity and I said, hey, what if we did this? So he wants to take credit for this, and now it all makes sense. This is why he is pushing so hard for Jey Uso, because he really wanted this to be like his Yes movement. He truly wanted this to be like the Kofi Mania or something, but with his blueprint on it. And he got really pissed off. This explains why he's so frustrated that at least half of the pro wrestling world is still mind-boggled that Jason Uso won the Royal Rumble months later. Here we are. We still can't fathom it. But winning the title at Mania over somebody like Gunther and tapping him out in 8 seconds to his own move, mind you, that's another story. And all of a sudden he's super Uso. He's choking people out like Gunther with his own move. He's doing Roman Reigns' spear and knocking people out. So he's stealing everybody's moves. He's a super Uso now. He he kicks out of stomps and spears and everybody's finisher. It's unrealistic. Why is Hunter trying so hard with this guy? But so many fans are just like, no, it ain't working, bro. But he still tries to push. Now it makes sense because it was his idea. He's taking the credit for it. I went and took something that should have been mid-card at best, even if people are into it, even if the fans are yeeting and he's selling 9% more t-shirts. Because that's it, by the way. It was 9% at its height. I believe it's back down to 6%. LA Knight was not just quadrupling that. LA Knight was number one over Cody and Roman for a time period. That's another story. But he didn't do shit with LA Knight. Now we know why, though. It's because that Netflix show, Unreal, when there's that teaser commercial or ad, and it shows Paul McMahon telling Jey Uso, I'm gonna put the mega rocket on you. I'm gonna put all the rockets on you. Now you know why, because this was his little personal project, and he got pissed off when so many fans were like, this ain't it, bro. He's a tag team guy. Stop. And nobody wants to yeet for 20 minutes every show unless you're in the crowd and you got the kids with their parents and they spent so much money and they're going to yeet for 20 minutes. Everybody at home doesn't need to see 20 minutes of that every single week. But now we know why. He's taking credit for it. So it has to succeed. He has to turn him into Super Oos. He has to tap out Gunther to his own move in 8 seconds. Because it's his idea. And he knows when it's honest time for himself, when he looks in the mirror and he's got to be honest with himself, he knows Jey Uso should have been in the mid-card with that damn IC title he was fighting for. He yeets, and it got over. He sold some more t-shirts. That's awesome. So you place him in the mid-card and you get all you can out of him. You don't place world titles on him, and then when you face the backlash of half your audience going, this ain't it, you triple down, you quadruple down, you try to put even more rockets on him. Bro, it didn't work. It didn't work. You're not getting the other half of the audience like BC on board with this. And I like Jey Uso, but this ain't it, man. Nobody needs to see Jey Uso in this spot winning world titles, and now he's your champion going forward in 2025. And you wonder why your ratings are going backwards and the fan interest is at an all-time low. It's at an all-time low because you got guys like Jey Uso holding a world title, bro. Now we know why. He's taking credit for it. He's like, Jey didn't even know what he was doing. I saw it, though. And then I said, what if you put your arms really into it? What if we do this thing and I put the rockets on you? And he got so pissed off when it backfired that he started telling fans they're not real fans if you don't like the Yeeting. He said, fuck off, fuck you. That's huge, man. Now you know why. He was already pissed at Damian Priest, not Priest. The fact that he chose Priest when it should have been LA Knight. We, the fans, chose LA Knight. He went with Damian Priest. So when Knight was getting all that crowd reaction, just with one word, yeah, no song, no dance, Hunter went on to say, oh, it could be a flash in the pan. We don't want to put any piece of the rocket on him. I'm going to go with my chosen one, Damian. The problem was Damian is a mid-carder at that point. Let Damian blossom in the mid-card and then organically make it to the main roster. But HHH anointed him main roster bound. So fast-tracked him to the Money in the Bank briefcase when that should have been LA Knight spot. And it backfired. We like Damian. I like Damian. Really cool dude. Outside the character and outside of that ring, awesome dude. But not ready for the world title in that show. That was more than a forgettable reign. Huge botches, like not putting your shoulder up, and the referee looks like an idiot and all that. It's massive botches. They finally had to take the title from Damian. It was a failed experiment, man. It just was. It wasn't time for Damian to be up there. But Hunter didn't want to listen to us. He went with his chosen one, and it backfired. So then he doubled down, tripled down, and he get Jey Uso. They're eating. I can make this massive. No, you can't. The crowd in attendance will yeet, yes. You can pretty much get that for a while, and even eventually the crowds will be like, all right, this is old. That's going to eventually happen. But that's all it is. The ratings are showing you that everyone watching at home, we're flipping the channel when we're eating for 20 minutes. Because they didn't want to go with people like LA Knight. They wanted to go with Jason Uso, Damian Priest, his chosen ones, and it backfires. And he gets pissed off, and he starts lashing out at the fans. He wants desperately to create these stars and go, I did that. I plucked Damian out of obscurity. I saw something so much more in Damian. I fast-tracked. I put the rocket on him. I saw Jey Uso. I saw things that Jey didn't even see. And I said, I can make you a main event star. Of course you can. You could put shiny toys on his shoulder. You can have him win big events because you run the events. But you can't force the reaction from everybody. Eventually you step out of those arenas. And the numbers are going to boot you in the mug. Because they tell a truthful story. It ain't working, bro. If Jey Uso was drawing a dime, it's sad to say this, but your ratings would go up. Netflix would be banging out right now with those numbers. And when he shows up on SmackDown, those numbers would improve. They're not, bro. You're at 6% in t-shirt sales. You have mid-carders get that. LA Knight is still pulling up more than 6%. And you haven't given him the time of day. You threw some mid-card titles on him and you threw him into obscurity to the wolves. This dude said he came to the back. I was like, hey, you did a thing. He wasn't aware of it. Why would you tell people that this dude didn't even know what he was doing and I had to tell him? And then I said, what if you throw your arms into it when you do it? Go further down that road. Yeah, I manufactured this perfect Jason Uso gimmick. Why do that? You're just telling everyone now you're getting a manufactured Jason Uso. He's going out there. That's probably why the poor guy is fucking winded. He's just going out there having some fun. HHH tried to turn this into some fucking mega power wheel of money. Didn't work. Capped off at 9%, sits at 6%. And now the poor guy's fucking winded. And when they chant, one more time, he's like, fuck. One more time. Poor guy's got to, right? Because Hunter Hearst Helmsley's on headset and he's telling the ref to tell Jey Uso, do it one more time. Yeah, do it one more time. One more time. Go up on the turnbuckle and yeet some more. Now you know why. He is so adamant that this Jey Uso experiment does not fail. Because it's his baby. He manufactured it. And he wants you to know about it, just like when he puts his credit at the end of every single fucking WWE show, so you can't even digest a program or a cliffhanger. It just pops up names, and you're like, oh yeah, it's just a show. Fucking Hunter Helmsley produced this. Thank you for that. That's our lasting image on a 2 or 3 hour show, 2.5 hours, whatever. Your lasting image is Hunter Helmsley produced this. Hunter Helmsley manufactured Jason Uso. Hunter Helmsley's in all the interviews. He's the face of the company. Hunter. Blow smoke up my ass. I'm doing everything awesome. And if I do anything wrong, turn to Tony Khan and say he's fumbling. That's it. That's what I got for you guys, man. Absolutely wild. There's some things that don't need to be said, man. Some things that don't need to be said. I told him. I said, put your arms into it and start to yeet more. All right, guys, that's what I got for you. 44 Dive, that's a wrap. Until next time, there will be that next time. And that next time is going to be the SmackDown review. Sometime, man. My members might get it late tonight. If you're a channel member, you'll get that first most likely. And then tomorrow morning, everybody else will get that review. So channel members, mount up. You guys are going to get that beforehand. You'll probably get that late tonight. Everybody else gets that in the morning, and then tomorrow evening, it is Backlash. I hope to be live. Maybe we could do a first match watch-along again. You guys really enjoyed that last. Somehow that turned into 3 matches. I don't know. Maybe we could do something special for that. All right, that's what I got for you guys, man. Unit, salute, PC, saying check you.